What's up everybody, it's RobinGaming here. Now before I get into the main topic of this video, I just wanted to quickly say yesterday I reached 20,000 subscribers and I just want to really thank you for that. Really happy with the way things have been going, and what can I say, I just want to really thank you a lot for that, because yeah, it means a lot to me and it's just awesome to see that. So once again, thanks a lot. Now for the main topic of this video, the PlayStation 4 has been out for a few weeks now. In my case, in Europe, almost 2 weeks. So it's safe to say that I've had a good time to really, test out a lot of the games and actually play them quite a lot. At least the games that I bought. And one of these questions that many people are kind of like asking themselves, especially the people who just don't have a PS4 yet, are planning to get one in the future, is the question, what is the best PS4 launch game? What is the game that you should get right now if you buy a PS4? And I just wanted to share my opinion on this, so that's what I'll be doing today. Now, one thing I should say, right now there's not a lot of games out yet for the PS4. We're strictly talking here about the launch games of the PS4. And those are about maybe, like 10 games or something. 10 really big games. Of course, there is the free-to-play games, but I don't really count those. There's a few indie games that I'll get to in a couple of minutes. But yeah, right now about 10 really big games. So there is your like sports games. I mean, if you are a football fan, you will get FIFA. If you are a fan of basketball, then you will get NBA 2K14, of course. Those two are great games. I wouldn't count them as like the best PS4 launch games. The games that you have to get if you want to buy a PS4. There's the games that I didn't buy, which I can't really talk about, but I bought them I didn't buy them, for a reason, which is that I don't think that right now they would be, you should be counting those as the best PS4 launch games. One of them is Knack, which turned out to be a pretty, average to good platformer. There's, like, people have different opinions on it. Some really find it a lot of fun, some think it's a pretty boring game. Knack is just, it's a good platformer, I guess. I haven't bought it because I heard that it's not that great. And all in all, I'm not really looking for a platformer right now. I think it's safe to say that that is not the best PS4 launch game out there. Same counts for Call of Duty Ghost, which is just Call of Duty. I've never said that they are bad games. I actually think that every Call of Duty has been good, that's for sure. I mean, people hate on it a lot for not innovating and for being this kind of like mainstream, shooter nowadays. But still, they are good games. That's something that you simply can't deny, because they're still of great quality. But again, I also wouldn't count Ghosts as the game to get on your PS4 right now. So that leaves me to a few games that I want to talk about. Now, let me first talk about the indie games, especially the ones that you got with PS Plus, which is Contrast and Resogun. Now, Contrast was, or is, just a decent game. It's pretty short, and I mean, it has a cool concept of like running, what is this, kind of like a platforming game where you have this character who can run on shadows and stuff. So if you see a shadow against the wall, then you can run on that, jump on that, and solve all sorts of puzzles, like that. I don't really think that's, again, the game to get. Resogun, on the other hand, is a game that I am really happy that they are giving you that free with PlayStation Plus, because that game is awesome. Resogun is an amazing game, and sure, it's a pretty simple, shoot 'em up game, and it only has like 5 levels or something, but it's so much fun to play. I guarantee you that. I tried getting some of the trophies for that recently, and man, it's definitely challenging if you play it on the harder difficulties, but it's also, like I said, a lot of fun. I would definitely recommend you to try out Resogun, especially if you can get it for free, this first month with PS4, if you get PS Plus. So definitely do that. Still, it is an indie game, and it's not really, like I said, a huge game, so I don't count it as the game to get on the PS4. But there are 3 games that I really want to talk to you about, which would be like the top 3 games that right now you should get on your PS4. And yeah, then I will get to the one that I would pick out of all 3. So Let me start off with number 3 here, Assassin's Creed 4. Now, I actually bought Assassin's Creed 4, even though I said that I was tired of Assassin's Creed. And to be honest, I still am. Like, there's nothing new about Assassin's Creed 4. It's the same game as Assassin's Creed 2. It has always been with the Assassin's Creed games from the past few years. That's a shame. You know, Assassin's Creed started out as an amazing franchise, at least for me, and it kind of got, you know, like, I mean, no denying that Ubisoft saw how much money they were making with the franchise and decided that it would be very healthy for them to come out with, you know, like annual releases. And I mean, that's definitely not something that is not understandable, but still, it kind of sucks, at least in my eyes. And Assassin's Creed 4, like I said, I did still get it, and that was because the team, you know, in this one, the pirate team, seemed awesome, and it is. Like, the world is so great. It's such an amazing game. Still, you know, all games have been of good quality, but like I said, never really did anything new. However, that pirate setting is really awesome. It's so much fun, and the way they are making these games, I mean, graphically it doesn't look that amazing compared to the PS3 version, for example. But what they do with the whole vibe, you actually feel like you're walking around in a city that is, you know, a city that truly represents what those cities would have looked like, you know, a few hundred years ago when it actually was like that. So it's an amazing game, but it's not the game to get right now for me. However, it's one of those games that you will want to get if you have extra money for also a second or a third game. Number 2 to me is Killzone Shadowfall. Now, it's a great first-person shooter. You know, Killzone games always have been made by Guerrilla Games, of course, from the Netherlands. So, you know, I find that pretty awesome. The game itself, however, like, the story is pretty, it's decent. It's not better, I think, than any of Killzone 2 or Killzone 3, unfortunately. The graphics are, of course, amazing. This is a game that truly has been made for next gen, and that's pretty much my main point that I have here with these games, is that I think, you know, the games that you'll want to get right now are the games that have been, like, specifically made for this console, you know, for the next generation of consoles, for the PS4 itself. You just notice that with Killzone, which has like much improved graphics, and it looks amazing, it plays great, multiplayer is a lot of fun. It's kind of like, and I compare it with Call of Duty, and that's probably something I shouldn't do, because yeah, you can get quite a lot of hate if you compare stuff with Call of Duty these days, but by that I just mean that the Killzone multiplayer is very fast paced. And yeah, I mean, it's fun to play, like I said. It's a great game, definitely one that you want to get on the PS4 right now. However, and this ultimately is the game that I would pick right now, the game you have to get on your PS4 if you get one in the coming months, then that's Battlefield 4. And I didn't expect to say this, because Battlefield 4, of course, also came out on PS3, and I already played it on there, and I found it, you know, good. I mean, Battlefield is Battlefield, right? We know what we can expect these days. Battlefield 4 isn't really different from Battlefield 3. It's the same game. However, the big thing, and this is something that console players will notice, people that don't play on the PC, is that now that Battlefield 4 is on the PS4 and also has 64 player battles, that it has 60 frames per second frame rate, that the graphics are so much more improved, you just notice how much of a step this is compared to the Battlefield games you played on the PS3. And not that, like I said, the PC version is any different or much different from Battlefield 3, but if you compare the console versions of the Battlefield games, then this is such a huge step. Those 64 player battles are so much fun, they are so chaotic, you have these huge maps, you know, especially if you play Conquest right now. It is so incredible. The frame rate, like, I picked it up and it felt like I was playing a Call of Duty game. It was that fast, you know, with these 60 frames per second. I didn't, you know, at first I didn't think that the difference between 30 frames and 60 frames would be so noticeable, you know. I thought, like, yeah, I mean, 60 frames is cool, but it's not gonna have that much of an impact. But once you actually start playing it, you will see how much better it is on 60 frames. And I don't know, it just feels a lot better, it plays out a lot better, and all in all, it also makes for a lot more fun. I don't really know what it is, but with Battlefield, you just notice, you know, if you play Battlefield 4 on PS4, you can just see, okay, it is made for that. It is made for the PC and for the next-gen consoles. You know, those are the platforms you will want to play this on, and not on the PS3 or the 360. Not saying that those versions aren't good, because they are. You know, if you play still on the current-gen system, I guess I should call them last-gen or whatever, but because, you know, the current-gen now is the next-gen, so I'm not gonna blame you for playing on those systems and playing Battlefield 4 on that if you don't don't have money yet for the next gen or want to wait for some reason, because there's still fun games on those platforms, but still, you will want to play this next gen version of Battlefield 4. It's so much better on that, and I'm really enjoying that game at the moment. I think it's definitely hands down the game that you want to get with your next gen console, with the PlayStation 4 for example. So you know, those are pretty much my thoughts on that. So let me know what you think about this. Would you recommend people other games to get on the PlayStation 4? If you already have a PS4, then what is the game that you would recommend to most people? Which one are you enjoying the most right now? I definitely think it's those games that are like made for the next gen and don't feel like current gen ports to the next generation of consoles. But you know, for now, that was it. So I want to thank you a lot for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.